The laughter started the moment Daniel Carter pulled his old blue sedan into the driveway of the luxury hotel. The car was scratched, faded, and covered with the small marks of years spent on the road. One of its doors had a noticeable dent, and the passenger windows sometimes refused to close properly. Surrounded by expensive sports cars and luxury SUVs, Daniel's vehicle looked completely out of place. But Daniel didn't seem embarrassed. He simply parked the car, checked his jacket in the mirror, took a deep breath, and stepped outside. He adjusted the collar of his inexpensive suit and looked toward the entrance. He wasn't there to impress anyone. He had been invited because of something far more important than the car he drove. Daniel was 38 years old, but life had forced him to grow up much faster than he ever expected. 5 years earlier, he had a loving wife, a successful engineering career, a comfortable home, and dreams of building a peaceful future with his family. Then tragedy changed everything. His wife became seriously ill, and after a long battle, she passed away. Daniel was left alone to raise their 6-year-old daughter, Lily. Losing his wife had broken his heart, but he knew he couldn't allow grief to destroy the life his daughter still had ahead of her. From that day forward, Daniel became both father and mother to Lily. He learned how to prepare her lunches, help her with homework, braid her hair, attend school meetings, and comfort her whenever she missed her mother. Daniel could have chased a bigger salary, a more impressive position, or a luxurious lifestyle, but he made different choices. He turned down opportunities that required him to travel constantly because he wanted to be present for Lily. He worked late when necessary, but he always tried to be home before bedtime. He understood that money could buy expensive things, but it couldn't replace the years he had with his daughter. His old sedan became part of their story. It carried Lily to school on cold mornings, took them to grocery stores, doctor's appointments, job interviews, and family visits. It had broken down more than once, but Daniel always found a way to repair it. To other people, the car represented failure. To Daniel, it represented every difficult road he and Lily had traveled together. That evening, however, Daniel had something important on his mind. For almost a year, he had been secretly working on an advanced technology project. During the day, he handled his normal responsibilities, but at night, after Lily went to sleep, Daniel studied financial reports, technical documents, and engineering problems. He had discovered a serious problem affecting a major company's technology system, and he believed he had found a solution. Instead of seeking attention, he submitted his work through a private consulting agreement. He didn't put his name on the project because recognition was never his priority. He simply wanted his idea to work. What Daniel didn't know was that his solution had attracted the attention of some of the most powerful people in the business world. As Daniel approached the hotel entrance, several wealthy guests noticed his car. Among them was Victoria Hayes, the daughter of a powerful investor. Victoria was confident, successful, and accustomed to being surrounded by people who dressed in designer clothes and arrived in luxury vehicles. She looked at Daniel's sedan and then at his inexpensive suit. A small smile appeared on her face. She turned toward the people standing beside her and made a mocking comment about Daniel's car. Several people laughed. Victoria then walked closer and asked Daniel if he was certain he had come to the correct event. Her words were polite on the surface, but her tone made her intention clear. She believed Daniel didn't belong there. Daniel could have responded angrily, but he chose silence. He had learned that people who judge others quickly rarely understand the struggles behind their lives. He simply smiled and continued toward the entrance. His mind wasn't focused on Victoria. He was thinking about Lily, who was waiting for him at home. He remembered the promise he had made to his daughter that no matter how difficult life became, they would continue moving forward. Daniel had spent years rebuilding his life, and he wasn't going to allow someone's careless opinion to take away his peace. Then the atmosphere suddenly changed. A security manager rushed outside and spoke quietly into his earpiece. Senior executives followed him toward the entrance. Everyone became curious when they heard the powerful sound of an approaching engine. A gleaming red Ferrari stopped directly in front of the hotel. The doors opened, and a distinguished executive stepped out. Almost everyone recognized him. He was a highly respected business leader whose decisions could influence millions of dollars. The wealthy guests immediately became attentive. Victoria assumed the executive had arrived to meet her family. But the executive didn't walk toward Victoria. He looked across the crowd until his eyes found Daniel. Then he walked directly toward him. The executive stopped in front of Daniel, reached out both hands, and greeted him with enormous respect. Then he said words that instantly silenced everyone around him. "Chairman Carter, we've been looking everywhere for you." The laughter disappeared. Victoria's expression changed completely. Daniel himself looked surprised. The executive explained that Daniel was not simply an invited guest. He was the anonymous architect behind the company's most important technology initiative. His solution had solved a technical problem that had frustrated the company's best engineers for months. The project was expected to save the company millions of dollars and completely transform its future. Everyone stared at Daniel. The man they had laughed at because of his old car was the man the company desperately needed. But the surprises weren't over. The executive revealed that the board had unanimously approved Daniel as the new chairman of its innovation division. Daniel had earned the position through his knowledge, dedication, and character. He hadn't needed a luxury car to prove his success. His work had already spoken for him. Victoria looked toward Daniel's sedan again. A few minutes earlier, she had seen a damaged old vehicle. Now she saw something different. She saw the car that had carried a grieving husband through the hardest years of his life. She saw the vehicle that had taken a father to work every morning so his daughter could have a better future. The car hadn't represented failure. It represented perseverance. Daniel accepted the new position, but he had one condition. He wanted the company to create scholarships and paid training opportunities for single parents who were struggling to restart their careers. He knew what it felt like to be overlooked. He knew how difficult it was to rebuild a life after losing everything. Daniel didn't want his success to benefit only himself. He wanted other parents to have the opportunities he had fought so hard to create. Victoria eventually approached Daniel and apologized. She admitted that she had judged him by his car, his clothes, and his appearance. Daniel could have embarrassed her in front of everyone, but he didn't. He simply told her that everyone makes mistakes, and that what matters is having the courage to recognize them. His response made Victoria realize that Daniel's greatest achievement wasn't his new title. It was the kind of person he had remained despite everything life had taken from him. Later that night, Daniel drove home in the same old sedan. When he arrived, Lily ran toward him and hugged him tightly. Daniel smiled and held his daughter close. He didn't talk about the Ferrari or the executives. Instead, he told Lily that sometimes people will look at what you have and believe they understand who you are. But they can never see the sacrifices you've made, the struggles you've survived, or the courage it took to keep moving forward. Lily looked outside at the old blue car and smiled. To her, it wasn't an embarrassing car. It was the car that had carried her father home every day. It was part of their family story. And that is the lesson Daniel's story leaves behind. Never judge someone's worth by their clothes, their car, their job, or their bank account. You may only be seeing one small part of a much bigger story. The person everyone overlooks today could be the person everyone respects tomorrow. Success doesn't always arrive wearing an expensive suit or driving a Ferrari. Sometimes it arrives quietly in an old car, carrying a tired single father who refuses to give up. Daniel never needed a luxury vehicle to prove that he mattered. His kindness, courage, sacrifice, and determination had already made him a man worthy of respect. And sometimes, the greatest victories belong to those who keep going when nobody is watching.